Hi everyone, it's Marina Vasquez from Creative Candy for You. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm excited to be sharing yet another video with you. This time I will be sharing a coloring video focusing on hair. And my choice today, this digital image that I have to color today, is actually by somebody that I admire and follow on YouTube and Instagram. And her name is Laura Inguz, and her digital stamps just came out, so these are brand new, hot off the press, and I am excited to be sharing some coloring with you using her digital stamps. Now, she actually has no idea that I'm using her image to do my video today, but I'm pretty excited. I shared another one of these on my Instagram, and I got a lot of feedback and a lot of questions on how I did the hair and if I could do a tutorial, so I decided to create one, and here we are. I do want to share the colors I'll be using for her hair, and I might be using all of them, I might not, but I did want to go ahead and show you, give you an idea of what is coming up with her hair this time. Okay, and then also I will be showing you how to do the streaks in her hair, adding more streaks based off of the lines that the artist has already created. And so the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up from these colors, I'm going to pick up the RV63. And the RV63 is not the darkest color in the shades I'm going to use today, but it's one of the colors that I'm going to use to kind of map out her hair and show sections and directions. It makes it easier to then create the streaks along her hair. So I'll be starting off with the RV63. And so the very first thing I want to do, like I said, is kind of map out where this hair is going to go. And we do have a couple of sections here. We have the back section down here. We have the front curls. We have the back hair, we have this parted section right here that is in the front of her face, and then we also have the back hair. So all of this needs to be separated a little to make it a little easier to create these streaks and the flow of the hair. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create this little section, which is going to separate this front part from the back part as well. And then right here in this section, I'm going to create another little section like this. Okay, these right here are also going to go towards this section. And again, this is just helping me map out how I'm going to make the direction of her hair. Okay, this right here, it does the little turn, so it's going to make it a little thicker. Then on the top up here, we have this curl going this way, and then we have this section right here that's going to curl like this, and the rest of this is going to curl up. Okay. And then just bear with me as we go through this sectioning of the hair. Okay, so this right here, and then we're going to create, and I'm going to be flipping this from side to side just to make it easier for me to create these streaks. Okay. And we've got some stars in between the hair. We're just going to work around those. Okay. I hope you can see that. And then we're going to continue with the top of her head, just kind of following the lines that she's already created for us right here. So the artist already knows how this hair is flowing. We just need to create those lines to create more movement and just division and streaks. and we'll be adding a lot more color as we go along, so don't worry about how it looks right now. Okay, so this section right here, and then this section is going to have movement this way, and this entire section is going to be moving up and down. So we'll do the streaks through the entire hair right here. Okay. Okay, so this is just giving us a little bit of ideas right here as to how the hair is going to flow. Now this hair right here in the front is going to flow down, whereas this hair in the back is actually kind of flowing to the side. So we're going to create the movement not up and down, we're going to create it going towards her neck. Okay, these are the streaks that are going to go towards her neck. And then we're going to do the other side. Don't worry about thickness of this strokes at this point, because we are going to create really thin ones and thicker ones as we go along. It's just right now we're just mapping out the actual direction of the hair. As you can see, there's a little curl right here, so the lines wouldn't go straight, they would actually curl right here. Again, she's got another curl right here, and we are going to create these little streaks. This is laying right on top. You can see just a basic simple strokes right now, just to give movement and to map out which way my strokes or streaks of hair will. So this side right here, okay, is the part, as I said, that was separated from here. So this is going to go in a downward direction, where this is going to go more across because it's going this way. So we're not going to follow this per se, we're going to just a little bit so that we add movement, and then we're able to move up here as well. Okay, I know right now it doesn't look like we want it to look, but this is called, in my words, it's called mapping. Just gives me an idea of how I want to make my hair flow. Okay, all right, so now I'm going to pick up the next color, and that's going to be the RV55. And just like I like to do my sections for the sparkle with my other video, going light to dark, I like to go light to dark as well here, and it's a lot of layers of hair. So my next color, the RV55, is now going to continue that map that we just created. But the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line of a shadow right behind the hair that is in front of the rest. So if you could see, this section right here is in front of the hair behind here. So we're going to create a shadow right here. We're going to create a shadow right there. So all of these curls will have just a slight shadow behind the hair. This section right here, as you can see, this section is right in front of the rest of the hair, so there will be a shadow behind there as well. It'll be around this section of the hair. Okay, it'll be around her face. her neck. This is all going to be a little darker. These little sections right here, there's like a little crease there. A little section right here. So all these areas are just going to be darker, and every marker that I get, darker marker, darker shade, I'm going to go over those sections more and more to create those shadows of the hair. Okay, I just like to go light to dark because I have more control of my color as I'm placing it. But it is up to you, whatever works best for you. Okay, this section right here is also in front of, and we're going to create a little shadow right there. This little adorable bunny is right in front of her hair, which is going to cast a shadow behind on her hair. And we're going to pull that shadow a little bit around. Again, this right here is the section that's going to divide this curl from this bottom section as well. This bottom area of this curl is also going to have a shadow. Around her face, we're going to have a shadow. Around her cheeks, under her neck, that's all going to have shadows. And as I said, we're going to get those areas deeper and deeper colors and darker shadows as we go. We're just adding color at this time. So now that I've added most of the dark areas, as we go, we're going to add a few more. I'm going to start creating these flicks, and that's going to create the little streaks of hair in the entire area and following the direction of the map that I've already created. So it doesn't need to be right on top of the ones that I've already created. It's just adding additional flicks. Some will fall in the same areas, some won't, and it's okay. We're just adding more color at this point and more streaks, more dimension. And we're following those lines that we've created with the lighter color. We're just adding more. Not too many, not exactly over the ones that we've already created. We're just adding here and there, just additional streaks in the same direction. Okay. I'm going to add just another one right here. All right. And we're going to continue through the entire hair, trying to avoid covering these adorable little stars in her head. And again, following the lines we've already created to make her hair streaks curl and follow the original designed lines by the artist. Okay. And then I turn this around just to make it easier. Some flicks are easier for me going down, some of them are easier going up. I'm not wanting to add way too many where I'm losing the other streaks that we've already placed on here. And really the idea is just to add just more hair strands for this hair. And just like in this digital stamp, it goes for the same for any stamp that you use. My suggestion is, and what works best for me, is to map out your hair prior to starting to color, just so that if the hair has a lot of different directions, it's easier to color the hair once you know where it's supposed to go. I know there's I will be making other videos as well coloring hair. There's so many different techniques out there, so many ways to color different types of hair that doesn't require so many streaks or so much detail. This one, this digital stamp has beautiful hair. I love it. And it gives you an opportunity to really be creative and color the hair in however you like, whether it's with watercolors or and making them solid hair, adding different colors in the hair, or like I'm doing now, adding streaks to the hair. Okay. So as I said, don't get discouraged yet. It's just adding strokes, light strokes to the hair, going back and forth. Now I'm going to move on to the next color, which is the RV66. And again, it's just layering after layering of these colors. What I'm going to try to do with this color here and the next, which is the darkest color, is try to not go over the entire set of streaks here. We're just going to add them in several areas, which is creating the shadows in the hair. So again, we're going to go back into those areas that I had already created the shadows. I'm going to make the hair a little darker in those areas, just to make them pop out just a little more, and the next color, even darker shade, will make them pop out even more. Okay, and again, as I said, you're not going to add this color and cover all the other lines that you've already created. This is just in certain areas, the pulling through. We're going to do the divided areas right here, where it separates the top from the bottom. Gonna pull it through midway, following the stroke of the hair. Not all the way through as we did with the other color. Okay, not all the way through, but we are going to create that little shadow behind her little bunny ears. Okay, right here, the separation between this and this curl. This curl is in the front, so we're going to darken that up. Again, we're just pulling in certain areas right here. Okay. We're going to flip this around a little bit. Hopefully I'm still within the camera correctly. Just pulling a few strokes, a few streaks within the hair there, just to add the different colors, the different tones. Okay, gonna be moving my hair around just to make it easier to create those streaks. I'm gonna make it darken this area back here behind her head. Okay. We're pulling some more behind her cheeks here. Definitely darken this area right here behind the head from this curl out. Okay. Just adding a few thinner streaks in her hair in these areas. All right, now we're going to do the top of her hair, following these lines right here to create the streaks on this curl. Not pulling the color all the way through, just in the darkest areas. Okay, now I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to pull the color from the top. And as your colors get darker and you add more of those shadows on here, it's easier to control your strokes and give more of that movement and not need so much of the color or the darkness as you pull these strokes up. And you can always go back, which I do every time. I go back in with the lightest color and add a few more streaks in areas that I feel might need some of the lighter colors that didn't quite get filled in. And I think the key to this, the strokes, the streaks in the hair, is just practicing making really light and thin strokes with your marker, using the very tip. If you can see, with my marker, I tend to hug the nib pretty closely, which helps me, that's just what works for me, but it helps me have a little more control of the placement of ink and how hard I'm pushing on the marker. The more you push on your marker, the wider your strokes are going to be. And when you're doing hair, you really want to make fine strokes to resemble hair strands, and you want to be really light on your marker. Some people I've seen that color like to hold their marker a little further away. It helps them control and maybe feather and flick their hair thinner that way. What you need to do is just practice what works for you and go with that. But really, this is just practice the control of your marker and your placement of the ink on your images. Okay, I'm gonna take a look here and just fill in a couple of these areas. that I see might need a few streaks here and there. As I said, I'm going to go back with my lightest color that I haven't used, which is the RV52. This one right here that we just used was the RV66. And now, before I go with the RV52, I'm going to go with my darkest color. And actually, I just see a little area right here, so I'm going to go back and I'm going to fill in this area right here. Okay. And now I'm going to pick up the darkest color, which is the RV66. This is really dark, almost like a plum, deep plum color. It's called Peony. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do in these areas where the crease of her hair, the movement of the hair be above the long hair in the back, we're going to add this deep color in those areas. And what I love, I always have a really deep dark color that I use with my hair, because what I love is how much bringing in a deep color makes that hair pop. I'm just going to follow a couple of strands here. I'm going to follow this back area. Again, I'm just pulling a couple of strokes here and there, kind of helping section off these areas, separating the little bunny, making more movement in the hair or shadows. Just here and there. It's not really a lot of color that I'm adding with this, except in the shadow areas. We're making them a little darker. Okay. I know this is going to be a long video just because this hair has a lot of movement, a lot of streaks, a lot to fill in, but I thought it was a gorgeous digital stamp. Again, I will be adding the link below of where you can find this digital stamp and the beautiful creative mind behind it. Okay, as you can see, these dark areas right here are what's going to make the rest of the hair pop up, just because this is showing right here that this hair in between is behind all of this and there's a shadow back there. Okay, so we're just going to continue with the rest of our hair. Pull a couple of streaks here and there. Going to make the hair turn right here. Okay, keep turning this hair, adding just a few areas. Don't worry if you go outside the image. You could always use one of your Jelly Roll pens, white pens, to correct those areas. Or if you like to color in the back, the outside area of your stamps, you could always fill that in. I don't worry too much. I worry more about creating the streaks and strokes that make my hair look more real. Thank you again for following me along. And I really appreciate those that follow me on Instagram, Creative Candy for You on Instagram. I do like to post the cards or images that I'm working on that I love to color, my favorite companies. And I also appreciate when I get messages asking me to teach certain things that I've shared. It just gives me an idea of what my next video should be and what I should show you. So continue to send me those messages, continue to send me ideas of what you'd like to see, and I'll try to create those videos with your suggestions, with your requests. I hope you can see here how adding just a little darker in certain areas, just pulling the streak a little bit, helps make those colors pop even more. And I'm a true believer that for coloring hair, you need to have quite a few variations, at least 3, minimum of 3, to show the different colors of streaks and strands in the hair and highlights. You can see on my Instagram postings of other images that I've colored just hair, and you can see the different streaks, strokes, highlights that I've created to make that hair pop. I hope you can see that in this video here. So really, if you don't have these colors, it's just choosing a light, a medium, a dark color, and that's all you need. At least 3. In this case, I used 4 so far, but I'm using a total of 5. And that's because these are my favorite colors to use. The RV66 and 50s is 63, 66, 69, and the 50s as well. I just love these colors, and also the colors on her shirt, which are the BGs, 10, 11, and 13. Those, you'll see a lot of my images that I've shared that I color have these colors. They're just my favorite. And so I love just how these colors turn out when you blend all of them together. Just gonna look back here and make sure that I filled in all these areas that I wanted with this color. Maybe just a little bit right here. Okay, and then the last color, as I said, I'm going to go back to the lightest color that I haven't used yet, which is the RV52. It is the lightest color, and I'll be, just in case these colors were out of focus or out of the video, I will be adding them to my list so that you know what I used. So I'm just using this RV52, and I'm pulling those colors a little bit. I'm leaving a little bit of the white because I do like the white as the highlights in here, but not too much. I'm just pulling the colors, and the dark colors will be pulled and kind of blended together, still leaving the streaks, but also helping in those shadow areas. Just fill in the colors. As I said, I'm not coloring all of it completely in, just leaving in some white areas, but I am trying to blend these together. Oh, I apologize for that. I move my images so much that my lids don't stay up, so that's why I'll be adding them at the bottom of this video so that you can have the list of the colors that I've used. Okay. Just adding a little bit under this little star right here. A little bit more in this area. I'm not being very careful, I'm just kind of dabbing as I go. And there it is. Let me go back here. Now what I do want to do is I want to pull a little bit of the color that's in her shirt and add it to the little stars, and also that little bunny that is on the top of her head. And then what I also want to do is I'm picking up the RV00, which was not in the initial colors. I'm using this to help coordinate these little cheeks of her with the color that's already in her hair. So I'm going to fill in that area and then use the RV52 while the cheeks are still wet, and just adding a little bit of the color on the side. Okay, it's just a very slight color in there. And then I might just go back and add just a little bit more. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the BG10, which is the colors that we used on the bottom, and I'm actually going to fill in this little cute little bunny in her hair, and we're going to make it match her blouse. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up the BG 11 and then just add a little bit more of the color. And I did go over a little bit of his body with that pink, but that's okay. And then with the darkest of the colors, let me find it here, is the BG13. With this BG13, I'm just going to go ahead and fill in the stars in her hair, because I think it's the only color that will actually stand out. So we're picking the darkest of the colors that I chose here and filling in all of her little stars in her hair. I think that's it. And then I'm going to go under the little bunny right here and just add a little shadow. Okay. I'm going to go back to the RV52 because I think her cheeks ended up being a little too light, and you don't see this color right here, so I do want to add just a little moon shaped on her cheeks, and then grabbing the RV00 and pulling a little bit of that color, just not going over the entire color, just kind of pulling it to blend them in. And then the last thing I like to do is I'm going to add a couple of just little dots on her hair to add a little sparkle. And so I'm grabbing the Jelly Roll Pen 08. I like these Jelly Roll Pens because it helps me add a little design, whimsical design, kind of sparkle in her hair. And all we're doing is we're going over her entire hair, just adding a few dots here and there with the movement of the hair. I hope you can see that. And as her hair goes up, following the little dots above her hair, just following, just adding random dots. And I just love this image. I will, as I said before, I will be adding the link to her Etsy shop where you are able to purchase and download this right away if you're interested in getting her digital stamp, and then coming back and following the tutorial to add these highlights and streaks in her hair Would love for you to share that with me. Again, I do have an Instagram page. It's creative underscore candy for you, and where I do show other things that I have colored. And again, you can also send me a message there or leave me a comment here if you'd like to see any other videos. I would love to come back and do a few more of these tutorials. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for stopping by. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.